This is our newest little project. This is a very early 1914 to 1917 Ives O-gauge electric locomotive. Um, I have a couple of like 1920s Ives, got some early Lionel stuff, but I don't have anything this old. Got it on eBay for about $35 because it does not run according to the description. So, a little bit about it. We have a cast top, very heavy, repainted at some time. This should say Ives on this side. This side should say motor 3200. That rubber stamp is on the way. We will fix that when it arrives. The motor is a little bit different. It's got a very big drive gear in the center. The front wheels are not geared. The front wheels just roll. This set of wheels is geared. So this big drive wheel only drives two of them. Other things that are a little odd. The roller collector. This is correct. The roller collector only came out one side. So instead of having a roller collector on both ends, one roller collector, this wire runs to your motor field. Why did it not run? This was missing the copper commutator plate. Okay, so this little section right here sits on the motor. The brushes touch that commutator plate, and when two of them are energized, it spins the motor. The commutator plate was blown apart. One of the three pieces was still there, and fixing it was a bit of a challenge. If you notice on the other side, this isn't held on with screws. It's ball peened on. That was a little bit of an obstacle. So I managed to get those loose. I actually put a wrench behind this plate and then held the wrench tight in a vise and tapped the center section with a little punch and managed to free them up without damaging that plate. And then obviously it went back together. Commutator plate was, I had spare armatures. The whole assembly is called an armature. I had a spare commutator plate on an American Flyer, and it actually was pretty close to the diameter of the armature shaft. It was a little wider than the original. Just a little bit. So normally there's a big copper piece, like a dog ear, that sticks out that you solder your wires to on the armature. I ground those down and tried to get the wire as close as I could to the commutator plate. The brushes are the old style arm kind. The problem was one of them still had some brush material on it. The top one did not. So I took a brass cup holder off of another brush holding assembly and worked it on, soldered it on after using a rivet to kind of hold it down, and then very tightly fit a little bit of brush in there. There's not a lot of clearance, but it does hold it out and it touches the commutator plate like it's supposed to, and it's insulated with some new fiber board that I put behind this brass ring. The brass ring replaces the original iron one or steel one, because when I bent the steel one, it broke. So we just made a new clip out of brass, but it holds our insulated arm complete. This one connects to the other side of the coil field. The second brush was okay. It's just riveted on. So I didn't mess with putting a brush cup on that. But I got the whole thing assembled. All the wheels roll. You can see that the armature spins like it is supposed to. Both brushes make contact with the armature. On the end, so this was an orange fiber board. It was actually two of them that it held this little clip at the bottom. And the little clip is just a retaining clip for the roller collector on the bottom. The the red ones, orange ones, fiberboard, it just disintegrated. It's over 100 years old. So I used new fiberboard. One of my two clips fell off, but the whole thing is held very, very tightly between what's left of it up and down and this dog ear that I could fold over. So I'm not worried about trying to replace this tab. And then rather than do it double thick, they used a very thin orange fiberboard. This is a much thicker black. So I just riveted this piece on. Its sole purpose is just to collect this to hold the arm straight and not let it go side to side and not let it drag or get caught. So I kind of made sure I did a rivet. I thought it held a little bit better. But the whole goal was to get this 1914 to 1917 era locomotive running. So let's go put it on the rails. Okay, on the rails for test run. It's a little small. I was kind of shocked when I opened the package up. It's not a very wide train. It's actually very, very thin. A little bit of comparison. This is an Ives right behind it. The Ives right behind it is about 10 years newer. And the top is pressed metal while the base is cast. Even bigger still. One of our deluxes. Another Ives locomotive, cast base, tin top, headlight. This old 3200 series does not have a headlight. They kept the 3200 series going, so this is a 3254. It's got the brass inserts, a 3251, the green one. Did not have the brass inserts, and even like compared to a Lionel, this is a Lionel 152. The Lionel was all pressed steel, but it had a headlight and bell. And this has got little cast nubs that look like headlights and little cast pantographs, but it doesn't have all those frills. So it is a one-direction locomotive. It does not run in reverse. The geared drive wheels are actually the front. The little roller collector is behind the back wheels. So she runs. This does not have any couplers on it, so it doesn't pull cars. It's got a little bit of wiggle I got to work on. The back wheel sometimes comes up off. We got a little bit of side to side, but being 100 years old, I think the frame's probably just a little bit twisted. We can work on that later. And then it'll get its Ives stamp on the left and Motor 3200 stamp on the right. But 1914 to 1917 Ives 3200 repaired and back running.